Exactly. This is called, This Is Our Work. When our boys are left to inhale bombs, is it surprising that then their vernacular is tombstone and trap rhetoric? Today, I brought flowers to mourn a child's mouth being stretched into fuckboy because using the word partner seemed like he had to give up too much of himself. To be attached to someone else's body that way. To rest in this term was to him broken, comfortable, was unacceptable in a world where the rougher the skin, the more brittle the bone. Which, by the way, was the point of the conversation I gathered, to bone, to debone, to score the skin from flesh, to leave her wanting even after being given so much, he says. He said he didn't even remember her name, but he could describe the hued pigment of her areola as it carried his children across its circumference, these boys. Our forgettable babies, die-tossed into the wind to have fate dictate how they offer love, offer themselves, offer nothing except a gentrified embrace full of construction and draft, never taught how to hold their own bodies long enough to recognize touch and space, and the joy in the way fingers are decayed poetry on the soft of any neck when invited to it. No wonder he is left to stratify his sister into broken and war. See, the sins of the father, scripture tongue of the son. Suppose for a minute we are an army of rooks, moving into spaces to protect our queens. Would we teach them to move different? Would we take up more ground and put the universe in the small of their hands so they feel the scale of their actions? This is not God's work, but our work. We who have been born into the world in explosion, a shadow of shrapnel, the aftermath of which is poured into our mouths, and this is the language we inhale and swap breath with our boys. This is our fault. We who leave breadcrumbs dipped in hemlock for boys that follow footsteps, and when it consumes them, it will caution their hearts. We'll tell them to find shelter, to hide, to avoid mirrors and things that shine, because masculinity becomes agitated when it reflects on itself, when it sees the bitter shape of its silhouette arched and ready for attack. Toxic, unearthed, contaminated rhetoric in yesterday's tongue, like empathy is something to be lauded. It is not. It is not that we reap what we sow, planted in the skulls of cornrows. This is more so a request than a poem, a plea, an invite to offer more of ourselves to what will eventually be ourselves till we recognize the weight we carry on our backs. An hour ago, 24 moons till 5 minutes later, we create a detox narrative that leaves a mouthful of funerals searching for the God echo in surrender. Our boys, these forgotten babies, unless we let them fall in love with themselves again, they will be destined to inherit what we have for so long buried in our own destruction. Y'all, this here is our work, not God's work. Thank you.